We good? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monday, May 20th, 2024 meeting, special meeting of the Infrastructure Task Force Advisory Committee. Can we call the roll, please?
Mr. Angeli, Mr. Barnett,
Here.
Mr. Grabsky, Mr. Labrie,
Here.
Mr. Lambert,
Here.
Mr. Partington, Ms. Retzko. Here. Mr. Walters,
Here.
Mr. Zelman,
Here.
and Chairman Mano.
Present.
You have a point.
Okay. Can I get an approval of the agenda? So moved.
Second.
And seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank everybody for making the time to come to this special meeting. I know we all need an extra meeting like a hole in the head, but it's important that we get together and put this piece of work, this is an important piece of work that we are going to be delivering to the commission on the 4th of June. So let's jump right into it. We have in our backup material two documents saying similar things, perhaps in a little different way, but I think they cover the same area. One is was in the minutes, and one was an additional backup that came from James Labrie. Okay, so I think maybe I don't know, maybe the way to do this is, and this is not a comparison of the two, there's nothing like that. I mean, they both have similar material in them, maybe perhaps sliced and diced a little differently. So maybe the best thing to do is just to go around the table and ask each of you if we're going in the right direction here. And are we leaving anything out from what you've seen so far? Let's make sure we didn't leave anything out, okay? Before we get into, wordsmithing it. Have we missed anything? Have we covered something that was important, that you thought was important, that didn't end up in one or two or both of these drafts? Glenn, rather Gregory? How about you?
No comments yet.
No?
Not yet.
Okay. Martha?
I think we cover a lot. And I think we cover everything between James and the chair, the combined document between Beck and Madeline. So it's merged already, so.
The next question is it too much? Are we including too much? Well, wait a minute, let's give everybody an opportunity to weigh in.
Yeah.
Roosevelt, is there anything we're missing?
I don't see anything that's, right off the top of my head, I'm sure as we get into it, we're gonna find things that we may have missed as well as things that we may not need to say.
Okay, good enough. Ralph?
No, I just, there's one thing, item on wordsmithing, I guess
Yeah.
we'll get to that
We'll
later.
get to wordsmithing. We've got all the time in the world. James, are we missing anything?
Well, I'm just gonna talk about my document.
Sure, go
So,
ahead. We're informed.
when we had our meeting before and there were two members that presented stuff and we're gonna mix it together. And I wanted to go back and look at what our city manager had asked us to do, which was to create guidelines. And I pulled out the documents from those early meetings, reviewed all those and looked at those and said, okay, if I was doing this, what would I do? So I borrowed freely from all the documents that have come forward. This is not 100% original by any means. They created format that you see before you, the introduction. We were asked to create 4 to 6 guiding principles that would be recommendations to the city commission when they were making the decisions about how to move forward with the new city hall. And I created 4 recommendations. There's of course open to more or change what we have. I'm going to do that as well. And then under each of these, I pulled information that I thought was important as well as what I felt was important that came from the listening sessions or the community forums, however you want to describe those, the workshops that we had and the people who spoke. And as well as the survey done for the city hall employees. I wanted to grab stuff from that as well, because I thought that was important.
Mhm.
So, and then I wrote a conclusion, and I put a watermark on the document and submitted it to Vicky. And that was somehow got screwed up in the, I don't know, the email or something. Anyway, it did not print out correctly when it was distributed to the group. So everyone is basically seeing this for the first time right now,
Mhm.
besides myself. So I don't know what happened, but in any event, that's what I did. And the things that I listed under the different items that I felt were guiding principles are not in any priority. Because there was part of the conversation that we were asked to do included give them some priorities, what we thought were important. And I also mentioned that, that we had the sessions with the public and that we heard a lot of information, but we all know in this group that workshops did not statistically represent the city in either numbers or composition by any of the districts. So it is basically, tell us what you think and we'll think about it. That's how I interpret the workshop information. So, so then I created the document. And that's where where I got it.
Okay, Michael?
I don't think we may be out of those, I don't have what,
This one that says introduction on top?
yeah. I think.
It's on the table.
Oh, maybe. Thank you, Val. Here you go, Mike.
Thank you. So to echo what James is saying, I really love that you brought it back to where we started, right? I think that that's really important because ultimately that's what was requested of us. Unfortunately, we can't continue this conversation with Greg, but I think it's also really important what James said as far as kind of disclosing the lack of statistical significance in the data. I want to kind of scan through what he's got here a little bit more, but that was the one thing that Lisa wanted to add. So really like what he did.
I think you were absolutely correct to go back to the beginning. And like you, what I did was I went back to the workshop and I re-listened to the workshop that we had. And it was very informative for me because I think we may have gone a little this way to come back to where we were. And it was very clear that they wanted principles, they wanted guiding principles. They didn't want us to get into the minutia. And we may in fact be a little bit into the minutia here. So we can try and cull that out. They just asked us to do a public outreach and to come back with principles. We have done the public outreach part. We did the best we could. We did a wonderful job in terms of, you guys did a really, really good job and we should acknowledge that. And thank them very much in the report, right up in the front of the report, which I did. And, but then as James says, we have to acknowledge what it was. It was a public outreach, it was an educational part. And I think that the educational part will continue. Because now it's becoming real. Pretty much it was theoretical when we started, but now it's becoming real because the building's coming down. And once the building comes down and they have to start, really facing the fact that, what we're gonna do, a P3, a contract, an RFP, then the people will the juices will start to flow again. So again, going back to the original thing, I think that the way we have approached it is rather than regurgitate the report, which is a wonderful report, and we should reference the report as whenever we need to make a position. But you're right, James, this is our take on what they should be looking at. That's what they hired us to do, for the exorbitant sum that they're paying us, is to give them advice and recommendations, and that's what we're going to do. So given that, I think that we could look at James broke it down into 4, I broke it down into 6. Okay, whether it's 4 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 3, it's just a question of how much you want to put into any one any one category. As long as everything is in there, how you mush it together is not as important as making sure that we don't leave anything out. So I'm not good at this. This is not my forte, so I'm asking you all for your opinion on how should we move forward here. Ralph,
Well,
help me out here.
I think one of the important things is, again, you know, looking at the big picture, but all through all the documents, I've got to bring this up now before I forget.
Okay.
And that is in the introduction, which Jim had prepared and modified and
Mhm.
came up with, it was a great job, Jim. And, but the verbiage in here, has a tendency to refer to the architectural, different things, and then under that, that's an A, and then D on the first one down, a building that is lawfully acceptable, safe and resilient, is D, constructed withstanding hurricane level winds and excessive flooding. I think we need to include civil engineering, structural engineering in this breakdown, because the 1966 City Hall encountered problems, flooded, and that was the end of it. And then in the 1968, they built the one that just is being demolished now. And that's incurred last year, April 12th, the heavy rain, the flooding in there that got in. And it wasn't anything architectural, but it was all structural engineering. That when the water got in there into the concrete reinforced steel, that it caused a weakening that created the unstable and unsafe building. So I think we need to insert structural engineering, civil engineering, structural components in that, because you know, the building looks great, beautiful, but if it's not structurally sound, it's not able to handle the winds, flooding, then we don't want to have a third city hall to
Yeah, but
experience.
Ralph, is that really a guiding principle? I mean, you know, obviously the building should be strong. It should be resist Hurricane 5. It should be built to Hurricane 5 standards. The cement should be appropriate with the right amount of rebars. But that's, to me, just me, that's not a guiding principle. That's something that you put underneath the
Well,
guiding principle that the building be resilient and you know, you might want to put that under, but that's not the principle.
I agree. To me, that's an assumed thing. I mean.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
The assumption, because of the fact, the geniuses that came up with 20-year inspection, then the 40-year inspection. And I wrote an article on that a couple of years ago when that horrible incident happened down in Miami. And then one of my recommendations as a civil engineer was to increase the inspection periods. So we need to, you know, if that's not part of this, then so be it. But I think this is an opportunity to incorporate good plans for safe building.
Let me ask you this. Put it in one sentence, very short, I see what it sounds like.
I'm not disagreeing with your idea. I was not ideal on paper.
Well, I think for the structural integrity of the building needs to be scrutinized by a structural engineer. In other
Well,
words.
But that's
they're never
why
gonna
the
get a
building-
building permit, it isn't, you know, stamped by structural and I'm hearing your concern. But I'm not thinking that it rises to the level of what they asked us to do.
Okay, that's,
Can I just, one thing?
That's correct, sorry.
I'm sorry. Greg. That's fine. I've been calling I'm calling Shane Michael for 3 years now.
Oh, okay.
And Michael's not even here anymore.
Well, I'll start answering.
No, Greg.
But she's pointing that
Your,
direction.
your organization was to have an introduction, a background, executive summary, and an executive summary, okay?
No, we don't do two executive summaries, for sure.
No, just one executive summary. Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely. Okay, and I think that the way we should, give it to them is in those small bites. The description of the various principles, okay? I mean, I think that this is a much more elaborate and inclusive, James is more inclusive and elaborate than what I put down, which is probably good, but that like comes after the executive summary. So I just want to get the form and the structure correct, because they're never gonna get past the executive summary,
Yeah, I agree.
okay? So when we say, so the principles have to be punchy,
So you do executive summary,
right?
you do an introduction sentence or two, and then you do the highlighted bullets.
Highlighted bullets of what are the
Five or six,
principles, 5 or
whatever,
6,
not-
whichever we decide, okay. And then the body of the report, so to speak, is
Fleshing
more
them
like, is like fleshing them out.
But are you saying 5 or 6 bullet points with no more bullets? I guess. Other words,
Yes,
need to be sound. Is there anything underneath that? Is there 4 or 5?
Not in the executive summary, no.
No, after the executive summary, when we get into.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, then we
yeah,
get into all of these.
Then we flesh it out.
Then we
Oh,
flesh
okay.
it out.
Flesh it out.
Right.
You have each section, you have your executive summary, and then. And with this format, you do building as well, like he has here, right?
Mhm.
And you can flesh it out even deeper than he has here,
Mhm.
right?
Later.
So,
Or not as deep.
Or not,
Right.
depending on, no, look at it from the perspective of what was in the backup materials, okay? That first there was the introduction, then the background, then the executive summary. There's a couple of words, some verbiage in the executive summary, okay, some verbiage.
Mhm.
But the bottom line of the executive summary is recommended fundamental attributes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, my question is, my theory when I wrote this was, that's it. That's the end of the executive summary. I've seen this done both ways. And then you go on to the body of the report. You take each one and you flesh it out. The question I'm asking is that the right way to go on this one? Because just giving them welcoming, engaging, accessible, and secure without at least a little bit of a teaser of what that means. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what does welcoming and engaging mean? And we sort of try to find a sentence that synthesizes it. The problem that I have with that, because I tried that, is that then you do this all over again. Okay? So maybe the best way to go is just, look, this is the principle. If you want to find out what we mean by flexible and expandable, and we could put resilient in that one too. That one could be flexible, expandable, and resilient. That's probably a good spot for it.
I think those are different things.
Different, thing. Maybe we put another one that's called,
Mention
resilient.
architectural, you should be mentioning structural engineering.
okay, so we'll get it in there somewhere. Okay, but what I'm thinking is that those are the 3 things, and then stop there. And then when we sit down with them and they ask us, well, geez, guys, what did you mean by welcoming and engaging? Well, the body of the report, all the things that mean welcoming and engaging, we got from our discussion with the public, from our discussion among ourselves, and these are the points.
But that runs a risk.
What's the risk?
The
Yes,
risk
Joe.
is, you lead in too much to the, I guess, imagination of the speaker at the time. You believe, when they, at the meeting,
Mhm.
and if it's not written down, we are not gonna be on the same, we may be in the same book, but not on the same page.
You got a point there. It's definitely all gotta be together.
Yeah, that's right. And if,
Definitely all
if
gotta
we
be
don't have something to look at, to stick with, then we're gonna go all over.
That's true. That's very good. Maybe each one of us takes a thing. I'm thinking now for the presentation. If these are the 6 or 7 guiding principles, and then Roosevelt's gonna go into this, and Ralph is gonna go into the thing about, and you just stick to the script, these are the things.
Yeah.
Aren't gonna pick one, how do you think that might work?
Definitely entertaining.
It would be entertaining and it might be educational,
I
and,
think it's better to listen 6 people than
oh,
one.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
So I looked in the James and I actually put 3 sentences under
Okay.
welcoming and engaging.
Okay.
And I'll bring the copies,
Well,
but
just
I
tell
may
us.
share with the chair.
Sure.
So I have the 2, 3 sentences, what we mean by that principle. And I incorporated, inviting.
Ah, you
with the-
did what I
with the-
tried to do, you did what I tried to do.
So I
tried to-
think we could
Make
put
sentences.
those fundamentals and then have a 2, 3 sentences after each one, instead of just like shooting the bullet.
That's what I was,
So that's the 2, 3 sentences.
excellent. So when we say what is welcoming and engaging, we mean the building design should be inviting with extensive use of transparency and architectural features.
Then are we gonna have these? Okay.
It's the same principles with James and shared it just with the same.
Okay, well, if we did it this way, would we need the bullets? Besides?
That's right, yes.
Then, but I was thinking maybe executive summary, we do up front,
We do that.
and then we do just bullets with 2, 3 sentences.
Mhm.
And executive summary would be just recommended fundamentals.
Yes. Mhm.
And then after that, we do introduction, and then we do full bullets. What we have, the recommended guidelines, principles, and conclusion.
Do you think that might be a little repetitive?
It is.
It is,
On purpose.
but on purpose, exactly, because quickly gives you information, executive summary, what is this? So it's kind of give you you don't need to, the introduction
You
is.
put the teaser out there.
Upfront, it's our job. This is what we did. This is the 6 principles, 2, 3 sentences on each of that. And then you go introduction, exactly. Here we can even elaborate more, what means safe, resilience and everything, and we can put structural and everything, and then conclusion.
Okay. I could go with that.
So it's really, it is a repetition, but it's upfront.
Yeah,
So it's
and
kind of upfront, the summary of.
And not everything that I use as a bullet point has to, we don't have to use half that stuff.
No, but it's very good. It's,
Oh, yeah. it's-
I think this is a time in the document when you can use more and kind of.
Right.
Because the summary is upfront.
Okay, we're working here. How about we talk about and come to some consensus on what are the bullets? All right?
Well,
Because-
that's what we have to decide.
Yes.
Nothing else,
Absolutely.
we have to decide, so
All right.
what are,
Difference.
the guiding principles.
I think we could all take a vote on welcoming and engaging. We good
Correct.
with welcoming and engaging? All right? All right, and when I said welcoming and engaging, accessible, he said, James said welcoming, accessible, safe and resilient. Do we need that, or can we put that in another bullet? I mean,
I would say
What,
that's what
what,
and
we-
security,
we
not
think?
parts.
resilient, no, the resilience gotta go someplace else. Resilience gotta go someplace else.
Yes, welcoming, engaging, together, accessible, secure together, and resilient separate. That's a sustainable.
Sustainable, resilient,
Correct.
and the
We
same
can put that.
thought, safe has to do with security.
Right.
Sustainable and resilient together.
We could talk about the LED.
But then it's gotta be,
Efficient.
it's gotta be all of that.
Okay, now, so
So,
changing that, do we change any of the bullet points underneath?
now why don't,
Let's get-
can I ask you please to
No,
look
yeah.
at what's in the back, look up the backup, look in the backup part. The one that I started,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
The first one is welcoming engagement.
Yes.
So we see with welcoming and engagement,
Okay,
That's the other.
Right.
document. Okay.
all right.
right?
Okay, oh, here it is.
The next one I put down was accessible but secure
I would change it to accessible and secure.
and secure,
Okay.
right?
That's right.
Flexible and expandable. Building that is functional for the efficient and safe operations of the city. Efficient, we've got that, flexible,
If it's, you need both. Flexible and expandable.
Yeah, because
If it's
flexible
it-
is within the building itself, the things had to be flexible, the rooms had to be flexible and adaptable within it.
which is
But
fine.
expandable, we were talking, and the public was talking about, well, what happens if we add another, 500 employees? Maybe the building itself has to be expandable, maybe it's gotta be designed to have another floor on it to expand, or maybe there's gotta be a site that's big enough to put an expansion on. We're not designing the building, okay? But if it's a building for 50 years, it should really be expandable, that's what I got from the public.
And what was
And
my
then
principle?
after expandable, I would say.
On my document, what was that principle?
Uh,
I think I have a.
flexible and expandable,
Flexible, except.
a building that,
Okay.
but you also added into flexible and expandable efficient. So what were you thinking when you were using the efficient?
Efficient means. It's functional, but that's together, what James just said. But flexible and expendable, that's also the same.
No, because flexible is
That's
when you
what I
got,
just questioned.
and I'm expressing that the way I looked at it, I could be wrong, but the way I looked at it was, here's the building. Inside that building, you have to have flexibility, move things around,
Okay,
okay? And if this is the building for today and we double the staff,
so okay, additions to the.
additions.
Okay,
Okay? And then what I took was, the next one was historical and educational. And I put into historical and educational all the things that people said about, you gotta learn there, you gotta see art, you gotta be able to learn civics and engage the students and teach the general public about civics and what's going on.
I'm not sure I see that as a guiding principle.
Okay, well, let's talk about that.
I mean, we had a lot of talks about amenities. And it came up in the amenities discussion, or let's have history, historical society people were at one of the workshops or multiple workshops, and they talked about, displays and stuff, which I think is a great idea. I'm not saying I'm against it. Educational, not quite sure where that fits in unless it's about the history. Okay, so to me, it's not necessarily a guiding principle, but that becomes an amenity. And if we have amenities, then it should be as a guiding principle. Then we should have that listed under the amenities and not have a separate one just for that. That would be
Okay.
my,
So if we were to rephrase it, not as historical and educational, but if we were to rephrase it as amenities, why don't we just change this whole one to, no, that's not.
well, what I had said was
What-
building that provides amenities for city staff and the general public. That to me is a guiding principle. You don't just want an office building where the workers come every day. You want it to be for the public as well, and you have to have some amenities associated
Okay.
with that. So-
Amenities.
It was
For
something,
public-
a space that allows collaboration for the public, like, other groups could have meetings there.
That's in here in both of them.
Mm-hmm,
That's in both.
that is in both of them. Okay, look, this one we need to think about this one some more. Let's just try and get the other ones down.
which is the functional.
Yeah. Okay, how about, I phrased it as high-tech but people-friendly. How did you phrase it? James?
I didn't see, I don't,
That's amenity, right? High tech.
yeah, I'm not sure I see that as a guiding principle either, Marilyn. In fact, I kind of don't like the idea that we have this, but not this.
You know,
or
we
this,
don't need
but
that.
this.
No, we don't need
So,
that.
I mean, it's a guiding principle, it should be one statement, and there should be any buts in it, yes, that's just a
Yeah,
grammar.
it's not a
maybe
but,
my
it's an and.
English
It's not a
background,
but, it's an and.
whatever. Okay. So, I mean, high tech, that's. I don't see that as a separate guiding principle.
Mhm. Let me just tell you what I was thinking, and then we could,
Where we face it.
well, let me tell you what I was thinking, what it was, and then maybe we do or don't. Let me just tell you what I was thinking, okay?
Ellen, why don't you tell us?
Why don't I tell you what I was thinking? This is the whole AI discussion, okay? How much, I mean, I think we got from the public and from myself personally amongst our discussions. AI is important. you know, high tech, turning everything into, you know, Zoom meetings and stuff like that is very important. But you can't, I always think of that as augmenting the human interaction and the human functions. I don't think of it as a replacement. And I think that is a principle. That is a principle that you know, because I know from listening to John, to one of the commissioners, he wants to turn this thing into a high-tech bubble that nobody ever even goes to, that you engage with it entirely online. I don't think that the public is ready for that or wants it. And I don't think it's a good idea personally, that this is where we're going. We're going in that direction. We can't not go in that direction, okay?
Absolutely
We
correct.
cannot not go there.
You're gonna get there if you got the drag.
Right, and they are dragging me. It's true.
Me too.
But the point of the matter is, you can go there as an augmentation of the traditional functions, or you can have it take over the traditional functions.
Sorry,
No?
I don't know what AI can do or what it's not gonna do for us. That's too much for my small brain. But to me, those are things that's like a tool. AI is a tool. That's all
Yeah,
I
I
see.
agree with that, yeah.
So. I mean, you talk about your welcoming, what do we have? We have the welcoming, engaging. And then we say another guiding principle about safe and resilient. Why can't we say something about high tech there or something included in that part?
But if it's a tool, then it's humanity, right?
Not really,
No.
I don't think so, not as.
But the broadcasting, the broadband and the internet.
In my thinking, in the bullets under this one, I put what did I put under the bullets for this one?
But Chair, that shouldn't be our guiding principle, because think about this, that are we gonna be debating where we and how we're gonna structure the building, because we're gonna be considering AI?
No.
No,
So- So we have to like come back to, we are the architects and we designing the building. So we wanna make sure that it's well flexible,
Mhm.
and the AI will come because it's a, if you have an internet, you have AI. So
Yeah,
that
but
interaction would be a tool.
I
But if
see,
it's flexible, you can always implement AI, right? Because you can create the room within the facility, so. But I think, you know, we will maybe. Maybe
Sure.
was.
I think what we'll,
Help you.
Jerry.
I apologize for being late.
Um,
All those people that work from home, they're on the road. Yeah. I took a different tack.
It's okay.
You
I
wanna
know
hear?
bullets.
We on
I hate executive summaries with bullets. Executive summary should be a paragraph that starts, the new city hall should be. It just will have a real warm and welcome. Should be a smart building of that.
Yeah.
Putting AI
Yeah.
aside. for
That's the-
it. Should be a
That's a good
smart
term.
building.
That's the
Smart
term,
building.
smart building.
Yeah,
Should be a smart building,
and that's what we call
energy efficient.
it.
And
Let's put that term down.
Designed with the requisite style and amenities to reflect the strategy and demeanor of the city and its various communities. That's one of the things that came out of. Well,
This is,
people,
that's a load,
right there.
that's a load. Because when they say what fit one doesn't fit all, now you're talking about what fit one won't fit the other three.
Doesn't matter. It's gonna be big enough if it satisfies everybody. Because on the other side of that, you got people who don't even want it.
I know.
Shouldn't be the old one, I know that.
Well, you know,
Whenever I went to the old one, I didn't know where I was.
it should not be like the old one, which was not welcoming, not flexible, not structurally sufficient.
Okay, that's not a guiding principle.
No.
And here, walk through the metal detector.
Right.
Instead of historical and educational, how about a showcase for art, history, and educational opportunities?
Oh, I like that
That's
better.
good too.
Showcase. Showcase for art
Art,
history.
history, and educational opportunity.
Now we get some education.
Right, because art was one of the discussions
Yes,
there
yes.
about having a rotating art gallery.
Scratch that.
And even the old city hall with the, I don't know what grades they were, but they'd see kids' art in the lobby area. There was, I thought was great.
When we talk about history, having like some section, part of the lobby
Permanent.
dedicated, permanent for history.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, like when you
History
go
of
to a
Fort
yacht
Lauderdale.
club, they have a case over there that's got all the trophies in it, something like that, so you can see it. Yeah, okay, I love that. Showcase of art, history, and education. That's a good principle. I've also got smart building.
Before.
Yeah,
Should be a comfortable
What-
place
what-
to work.
What's the bullet points in that, though? What section are
Art?
you taking out?
yeah, I'm taking, that's really, let's see. Well, you'd have to pull from his you'd have to pull.
And I think with that, those are your guiding principles.
Those
Those points, welcome, engaging, accessible, secure, flexible, and sustainable, and showcase for art, history, and education.
And stop.
is that cool, Greg?
We
That's more
didn't have amenities.
Oh,
Well, amenities are in a showcase for art and education. There's amenities there. No, but they are. Those are amenities.
I think that
We could
I think
have-
amenities is a bigger,
A big,
Yeah.
so
bigger than just.
five, I'm gonna go for five. Amenities. How will we say amenities? Somebody said something just before that I thought was good.
Amenities for city staff and general.
Amenities for the public and
City
staff.
staff and general public.
Amenities for city staff. No, let's put the public first. For the public and city staff.
Well, let's ask the people who are gonna be there 40 hours a week.
Staff,
Well-
yeah, very.
Come on.
Well, let me throw out an idea as well, since you piqued my interest in that. Should we even include in our principles programming for the spaces for the city staff and their amenities? And whether or not all the functions should come back to the central location. I didn't do that in my mind. I said you can't separate the programming of the space from the principles. And certainly the public didn't, because we got into all of those issues, but whether or not you bring back the buildings department or the transportation people into the central building, that's really not our function. That's really a function of the city manager and the commission.
I agree, I agree.
And whether they have.
That gotta be considered when you try to bring everybody back downtown. Now you're talking about additional parking, additional space and all that other good stuff.
so my first draft, I said, administrative space needs to be determined from input provided by the various city
I
departments.
agree.
City departments need to look to space use in the future. Example, do they feel the departments will expand or grow considering flexible work environments, AI, et cetera.
Mhm. I like that.
Special focus needs to be placed on areas where efficiencies can be gained by different city departments who work regularly together, providing these departments just adjunct space, i.e. city manager and city attorney.
Right. I think that's important. I think that we should not be getting into the weeds on putting together whether or not the allocation of the space in the
Right.
building is
Right.
ours.
So I had that as one of my things. I think I had building services stay where they are or something like
Yeah,
that.
we.
Which is, again, too deep in the weeds. But we have to say something, I think, about being efficient. The city staff have to be able to work efficiently. If that means that the city commissioners and the city manager all have to be on the same floor or whatever, then you should somehow, like more eloquently, as Greg was just saying, pull it together. And let them.
Just to introduce the concept, right? He said,
Yeah.
we didn't do this for you, is what I was saying. We're not telling you we're not doing this for you. We're telling you you should do this separately. Right? Talk about the different departments that work together.
Well, I remember city managers specifically saying that they were gonna take care of that.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
were gonna do that. They didn't ask us to do that.
So you're saying we don't even use that as a guiding principle?
I would,
Leave it out.
me personally, I would put it in someplace, maybe in the as just one sentence in the introduction, that this was not, this, you will not find that in this document, somewhere, or in the, someplace.
I think you need to add that next.
I think it's gotta be some, I think
Someplace.
we're remiss if we don't do something, say something about it somewhere.
About-
somehow.
Amenities, or, oh, sorry.
No, about
Cohesiveness.
departments being, you know,
Cohesive.
Everybody.
I agree. I'm still stuck on the top bullet points, right?
Yeah,
And so I think we should just, the next bullet point should be amenities for city staff and
well,
that,
that's what we got. We got amenities for the public and city staff, or the city staff and the public.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go that way. All right, so that's what we got now. We got 5. All right. Is 5 enough? Have we encompassed everything?
we were asked to do between 4 and 6. That was. what
There you
it
go.
was.
We got 5.
Well, the sixth one would be recognizable and cost effective.
yeah, I was
We
gonna say
didn't,
cost.
we haven't gotten any cost.
We didn't say anything
Yeah,
about
we have to
Okay.
say something about it.
Yeah, just
Okay.
for cost effective.
Yeah, that's the last one, the cost, because recognizable would be
Under the first one.
under a showcase
Cost
for
effective.
art.
Yeah,
Recognizable and cost efficient. I thought that was my line. Recognizable and cost efficient.
But recognizable, it's gonna be under showcase for the art.
it's just
piece.
put cost efficient.
No, actually, showcase is what's inside of it. The showcase is the things that are gonna go on in it, like the art and the history and places to educate. Yeah, okay. All right, so what do we got? We got,
Jane, and yours where you had when you spoke about the, inside, I don't want to first the outside, but the welcomingness of the inside as well as, outside, in your, I think you said, covered outside space.
Oh, yeah, that was part of the amenities, though, I think, wasn't it, covered outdoor space?
Okay, that was the amenity bucket.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was just an item underneath that.
Okay.
I got a showcase piece.
So I think we should separate recognizable and cost. I think we should have
Go.
an item recognizable and then the last one, number 7, cost effective.
Why do you feel?
What, tell me.
Yeah.
Because recognizable, it's more about the architecture, what I understand that it's in a central part of the downtown, has a special architecture, special design, so we can
This is the old iconic issue.
correct.
Are we
It's
going for
more like
iconic
the
or what?
Beyond the times, and cost effective is just cost effective.
I think cost effective is important enough to be a line on its own.
Separate,
Separate.
exactly, because cost effective is related to everything all of above.
That's
Well,
kind of
I
a
have a
finance,
menu.
it'd be like some kind of principle about finance.
That will be in cost effective.
Yeah.
Financing goes in there.
But we don't have
1,
it.
2, 3,
You
4,
did
5.
one about
So now
the
it's
type of.
set.
Okay. Let me
Finance.
recap, guys, let me recap
Yeah.
because we're all over the place. So let me recap. We all think it should be welcoming and engaging. It should be accessible and secure. We're not 100% fixed on flexible and expandable, but we can come back to that. We're all amenities for the public and staff, showcase for art, history, and education, recognizable and cost effective. That's 7.
Lucky number.
Lucky 7s. Okay, given that, all right, the only one that we were not 100% comfortable with was flexible and expandable. And again, maybe we could put that into cost effective if nobody's likes flexible and expandable, no?
I like flexible expensive.
Okay,
But
then we
it's,
leave it.
it's,
But I don't know where to put it. I
I
like
think
it, but I
it's
don't know
like
where to put it.
functional and efficient, what James has. That's kind of what I understand, functional for efficiency.
Functional and efficient. Okay, maybe we change it to functional and efficient.
Yeah,
You want that?
I like that better.
Yeah, I like it
Okay.
better.
Functional and efficient.
And then as a sub-line under that could be flexible and expandable as part
Yeah,
of it.
that'll be a bullet. That'll be a
I have a
bullet.
bullet underneath. it.
Excellent,
Flexible
excellent.
workspace.
Progress.
Expanding and trying based on need.
Okay,
The
so That's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So. Where do we go from here?
Here now we start doing the bullet points
The bullets.
underneath, right?
Okay, so welcoming and engaging. Let's look at the bullet points,
All
both
right.
people. One says the building design must draw you in. Extensive use of transparency and architectural features. Okay, and you said, well, when you said welcoming and engaging, you were talking about amenities, James.
I said welcoming, engaging.
Well, you've got some amenities like parking in there, but.
Yeah, that's the bullet on.
You say transparent to me, that's design.
Yeah,
So welcoming and accessible, safe and resilient, those were that one statement that I had. Welcoming means to me, it's, you see it, you can get into it, you can get there, you can park easily.
Yes, in order.
You
That's the
walk
thought.
in, there's a kiosk or there's a person or something like that. That was me. as well.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I
we will go with Mr. LeBrun. Okay,
As opposed to what you got now, is every time I walked into City Hall, and like somebody looking at me, oh, what the hell do you want?
it's true, it's true.
With you.
Okay. I had a bullet point, and this is controversial, so we can strike it if you like. Outdoor open space should be integrated into design, but not necessarily a destination. Are we building a park?
I like
I like that.
I like the
Okay,
the way you stated it.
Yeah, we should keep it.
There's nothing.
okay, very good.
Where is that, Marilyn?
It's under my
Bullet
bullet points in welcoming and engaging.
The last.
Little.
Mhm. Okay, so we'll keep
Or
that.
it's supposed to be the-
It's on.
Oh, here,
Next
outdoor
to the
open
red.
space.
That'd be it.
What does you mean by not necessarily a destination now?
We're not building a park.
Yes.
But I wanted the outdoor space to be usable in event situation.
I have that in here. It's
Okay.
public spaces must accommodate official meetings and ceremonies. Public spaces and open space
Okay.
should accomplish it, yeah. Mhm. Okay, so,
But if we have, if we wanted to be invited, we'll send to the public, come on down, and you can hang out in our open space,
You
which
could.
makes it in a park.
well, but you're not coming down to go to a park.
Yeah,
You're coming down to go to City Hall for something, and there happens to be open space as part of the design.
here.
I mean, it's not gonna be, there's not gonna be children's playgrounds and stuff like that.
Here, but bothers me a little.
No parks, no splash pads.
The problem right now that we have
Do a
with
splash
the,
pad.
with the homeless.
It's only another billion.
The homeless, what is the homeless? Yeah, what about that?
If you create a place, they'll come.
If you create a park, they'll come.
If
But if you-
if you make it outside and you got tree shade or whatever, they're gonna come. And it just,
We're not here to solve that problem.
I know, I don't wanna make the problem either.
But Roosevelt, remember there was design that kind of park was in the central part of the building, so you have to pass through the security
To get to it.
to get to the building, and happens that the permit in the building department, you gotta wait 2 hours because they have to call the electrical inspector. Then you go and wait in the park and have your coffee.
But you've already gone through security.
But exactly, but
So,
you
so
pass
you
that
wanna,
security.
you can't get to the outdoor open space
Correct.
without going through.
That's what I meant by
Security.
integrated into the design.
Yeah.
So it's like an internal court.
I can deal with that.
So
Okay,
not
good.
necessarily an
Yay.
open.
So this is an open space that's not open.
But
Could be a terrace, could be a terrace, that way you
Yeah,
go and wait.
I can go.
Yeah, okay.
I just don't wanna create additional problems.
I agree. Okay, so also under welcoming, building design should be inviting, extensive use of transparency and architectural features. You said that, right? Extensive use of transparency and architectural features?
I said that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading yours. Yeah, we tiptoeing around design here.
The transparency.
The
yeah.
transparency,
The
you remember all
glass.
those.
Use of glass.
Use of glass. I don't know, but then people said, it's Florida. use of glass, what about air conditioning? We're all gonna die in this building, it's too hot. So I didn't wanna say using glass. I use the architectural terms, transparency, and there are other ways besides glass. I mean, how you design the building, I mean, you have, you know, the first floor is impressive, it's big, it's large, there's an opening into the building. You get an opening that goes through the building. I mean, you can use architectural tricks to do that, but we are not designing the building. Okay, so how do we express, you know, that
It's welcoming and engaging.
it's welcoming and engaging? Okay, all right. Okay. So, I think we're beating a dead horse on welcoming and engaging. I think we all
Let's move
understand. Let's
Yeah.
move on. Let's move on to accessible and secure. So, James, accessible and secure.
Well, I had that kind of
You had that,
mixed in.
okay. So it's accessible and secure. We definitely gotta go with the centrally located.
Central
That,
location,
that
yes.
has to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely gotta go with that one. Near public transportation stops, I mean, should we say that? I'm pretty, that's.
Yes.
That's, that can't hurt you. Okay,
Construct to withstand hurricane levels.
constructed to withstand hurricane, that's not,
This resilience.
that goes someplace else. That goes in. Now, where does that go?
We don't
You know.
have the category, but maybe we do recognizable and resilient together. Because we only have recognizable, but resilient or sustainable.
They're two different
The
things.
times, sustainable the time, sustainable the weather, sustainable the structure.
How about in cost effective? Because a building, to be cost effective, it's gotta be it costs a lot of money to build a LEED certified building. That's, you know, resilient. Maybe that's where we put it. It's cost effective. Don't stint on, you know, LEED and resiliency, but it's gotta be cost effective overall,
You can leave it here, you can move it there, it's just gotta be somewhere.
somewhere. Okay,
Yeah, we have to put resiliency somewhere.
but resiliency is such a funny term. Resiliency is like long-term, long-term.
It's gonna last.
It's gonna last, and so that, to me, that's functional and efficient. Built to last a long time,
Yeah, we could do it.
yeah?
We're
Resilient.
gonna put functional, efficient and resilient.
I would add resilient there, would you, everybody agree with that? And resilient. Resilience. Okay, so that's the category we'll put that in. Okay, all right?
How you gonna redo?
Yeah, I was-
Oh, this is my life, I do this all the time. I do this all the time, my staff used to go crazy.
A stenographer is.
I should have brought my plow. Yeah, all right.
As long as you're not gonna look at one of us and say, okay, here, fine. So,
Have you used that new machine? A little.
We nominate the,
I tried.
the person who's not been here the longest.
Okay.
You went on
Named by the fair.
So now let's, the next one down
No,
is,
the Kentucky Derby.
wasn't that a great race? Yeah,
It was.
all right, we can get into that. Amenities for the public and the staff. What are we putting there? James, what did you put?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
We're on to amenities for the public and the staff.
Well, when we went through I went through, or we talked about the employee survey, which was brilliant that was done. Wellness center, I think, was their number one comment, and I didn't even know it was a wellness center. And to have that with the building is, to me, absolutely necessary. This is where you have to have it.
Can I ask you a question about that? Not to be the Debbie Downer of the
Be
world,
Debbie Downer, go ahead.
but is that our business? I mean, that really, to me, is a discussion between management and their staff. If you want a happy, healthy staff, you give them the wellness center,
Yes.
okay? Is that a guiding principle?
Amenities are a guiding principle. That's an amenity for the staff.
All right, so
Right
let's
now,
not
they don't
mention,
have that amenity where they work. It's off in some building somewhere else.
okay, so maybe what we mentioned is amenities for the staff's well-being. But don't, say, it's gotta be a daycare center, a lactating room, you know, I don't think we wanna.
But that was, those were different items.
That's different.
Those were different items.
We're not on.
The
we're not
wellness
on
center is
that.
one
But
thing and the
none of
daycare
those
is something
items,
else.
it's must, right? It's a recommendation. It's just the guidance they can,
These are examples of what
they can
Can
use.
we use them as an example?
Um,
Rather than
Yeah.
definitively say, a principle is that we should have a wellness center.
I'm not saying that. I'm
Okay,
saying
but
the
it's
principle
under.
is that we have amenities for the
Yes.
city staff and the general public.
Right.
For instance,
Exactly.
Not,
No.
well, is that the way, how
And-
do you want me to
and-
frame it,
Amenities to be considered are,
to be
right.
considered?
amenities be considered should include.
for consideration or
For
something like
consideration
that.
is, would
Employee
include
wellness center,
employee wellness
daycare
center,
center.
I'm happy to
Available
do
for
it that way,
city staff.
I'm happy to do it that way.
Such as.
Such as or to be considered, because this comes under the category of amenities for the public and the staff. So amenities to be considered for the staff would be, for instance, the wellness center,
It says
For
employee wellness center, that,
that's fine.
right, that's
Staff.
enough.
Okay, now how about amenities for the public?
One more for the staff that they asked.
All right, let me give you the staff, wellness,
Staff was, they also wanted food preparation and places to eat.
the kitchen.
they wanted a cafeteria, a little kitchen, staff kitchen.
That's,
well, I said vending area, breakout, break room.
That's fine.
I think
Staff
that's
break
better.
room. Sounds good for
Because
me,
the break
Which
room,
would
you
be
have a
separate.
microwave and a coffee pot or
which
whatever.
would be separate from a public.
Yes,
facing
this
thing.
is strictly for the.
Strictly for the-
this
but I
is
feel,
employee.
I feel like those amenities they provided in added office space, it's like asking for the restrooms. It's always provided in the break room, in the kitchen for staff, so that's kind of like a typical
Standard,
standard.
yeah, it's standard, yeah.
But when
The
the
wellness center not, right, the daycare not, but.
well, they also wanted a gym, no, it's a place to work out, they wanted a gym.
But that's an unusual amenity, but
But-
I don't wanna ask ask for amenities that they must be included anyway in the design, because.
See, I
For
don't wanna
the
get,
building code, you gotta have a kitchen like a.
Right.
Employees, and that's a federal law, I think.
I don't know if it's a, I know you gotta have bathrooms, but I don't know about a kitchen.
Did we agree that we were gonna recommend a coffee shop or like someplace for the public they could get stuff?
We did,
Amenities.
in one of the, workshops. It was high up on the list of a lot of folks. But, you know, we had a cafeteria there one time and it didn't last.
See, what I just didn't wanna get into the position of saying, putting in the wellness center and the vending rooms, et cetera, and then having, at some point, the staff come, sorry about the staff. You know, we're in contract negotiations and they say, well, look, the report said we should have a wellness center. Why can't we have a wellness
The
center?
report is a recommendation. We're not saying they should have it, we're saying these are all
These are
recommendations.
things that you should consider. Just consider.
All right,
This is a guiding
as
principle.
prefaced with these.
We want the mayor and the city commissioner to be thinking about the staff.
Making their staff happy.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's good. That's a good principle. Okay. So staff break room. All right, how about, let's get on to the public.
Parking.
That's definitely,
That was the main thing.
that's almost in welcoming and engaging, this parking.
yeah, I think that's what.
That goes, we put that right up front.
Yeah.
Welcoming
And you
and
have,
engaging
and you have near public transportation stuff, so.
That's all up in welcoming and engaging. But how about other things for the public?
There was the business center, the conference rooms that they will be able to rent from the city.
Yeah, I said low rental fee, low rental fee meeting space for nonprofit organizations or business startups.
I like
I like
that in
that you said
this,
And one other,
But they have to pay rent, but it's low rent.
low rent.
yeah. But then in one of you also said, free meeting space for the community.
Yeah, well, that's going in here. Free reading space for the
Yeah.
communities is going in.
And in that, and would those two things be the same?
No,
No,
no.
They're not, okay, but I didn't want to have, saying it's free and then they're gonna charge.
I'm putting in low rent.
civic association,
Okay,
that's all, city sponsors that or supports it, you know, you have to register to be a city neighborhood.
right.
So.
You have to get on the calendar.
Yeah,
You're on the calendar.
and you know, they,
Okay, so publicly accessible, low rent meeting spaces, okay? The idea about the meeting rooms for the organizations, is that in here as well, or is that somewhere else?
I'm not seeing it.
It's in here, I read it.
I put it under functional, efficient and safe operation of city government. I don't know if that's what it belongs.
I put it under welcoming and engaging. Welcoming and, I put
No,
public spaces.
He's got under amenities D, E. He's under amenities, 3E.
Yeah, that's the low rental,
That's the low rental one. E is the low rental one.
That's under number 2, it's letter U. Yeah,
Meeting space for
F and
city
G.
official, F and
meeting space, meeting
G.
space, meeting space, meeting
G,
space.
G, G.
Remember that was a big thing as well for the
Yes,
city.
lots of meeting.
staff. And it's a big thing for us
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
I don't wanna drive out here anymore. I wanna come down.
I wanna
Now,
go downtown.
So, hold on, James, just to follow chair thought, maybe amenities are the functional developing, so maybe we should have under functional amenities,
We have amenities separate.
because we have a separate.
We have them separate for amenities in the public, and then we have functional and efficient. I think that's, they're different. Let's not fool with the
Okay.
categories, because we'll never get out of here. We
Alright.
got 7 categories. Let's make everything
It's a
work.
good number.
7, we make it all work. Okay. Okay, I think amenities for the public, we can pick and choose from these various ones and stick them all in. I mean, they're bullets, they're things to
Yeah.
consider, and better to consider more than leave anything out.
so under the,
yeah, and I don't want this to be all inclusive or all exclusive, this is what we kind of, as a group. The structure of our team here put together, there can be other things that we don't. Here,
yeah,
Okay,
this is just
what you come up at the workshop.
Yeah. And they have this wonderful document, they're gonna read, they're gonna see all this, they'll decide.
all right, so now let's move on to showcase for history, education, and history, education, what was the other one? History, education, and arts, okay. I mean, that's a simple one, that's a no-brainer. I'll pull from each of these and we'll put a couple of bullets in there. Are we gonna want the permanent exhibit space? Or rotating exhibits, or we just
Well,
be vague about
the
it?
idea was history would be a permanent exhibit around the history of Fort Lauderdale, and the other spaces
Would be
would be
rotating.
rotating. Depending on what they are, like if it's like outside, I would have maybe more permanent outside art, if they're local art.
That's
artists.
up to them when they get down to it.
Yeah, they get to it.
All we're gonna say is there should be a component of art, education, and history in the building. That's an easy one.
Well,
Okay,
well, permanent though, I think we have to use the word permanent as a bullet point for a permanent
okay,
exhibit for the history of Fort Lauderdale. I think that's really
I
important.
think that should be permanent,
okay, I'll put that for a minute.
and then the other should be flexible.
And then the other is rotating or flex space.
I know other cities have like commissioned art for lobbies from local artists, so
Mhm.
they can decide that, other groups can do that, right?
Well, we have we have a public art advisory board. They will, if somebody wants to donate a statue to the open space or the terrace or whatever it is, it'll go through the normal procedure. Alrighty. Okay, so after that, we got recognizable. What do we want to say under recognizable? This is the idea of iconic versus not iconic.
Well, not. The thing can be recognizable for 2 reasons,
Mhm.
because it look good and fancy, or it look like hell.
And bringing it back to reality.
Yeah, yeah.
And when we. Yeah, we did.
I don't think we ever got to a really descriptive concept.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking, let's knock out recognizable and under welcoming. put on something about, you should be easily identified as the city hall, so you know where to go.
Well, I mean, to me, we say centrally located down that area, that's.
But that's not
But we
recognized.
talk about the
There's a
architect.
whole lot of buildings that.
See, we're struggling with this architectural issue.
And cost.
And that was inevitable, so I'm going with, let's go back to 6.
Well-
Strike recognizable and just, and include it under welcoming.
Fine. And then, but I would, but we have recognizable and cost effective, right? So just.
No, cost effective came out as one of its own. All right. So if we're gonna knock out recognizable, then let's move on to cost effective.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we talking about under cost effective?
James, you did good on that one.
Well, I just threw about everything into the soup here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. But I see it more as a salad than a soup. After you stir it up real good, soup, you lose the identity of individual ingredients. Whereas.
We have a chef.
Thank you, sir. Let's
Okay.
keep those distinct flavors,
When you
right?
say he put them all in there, where is it?
Number
Affordable
4.
cost to the
Number 4.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, like affordable cost to the residents. Like, cost effective, not,
Oh, so when you were thinking cost effective, you were thinking about the finance.
Yes.
Yeah.
so we could put
And
finance, cost,
what?
or maybe cost effective, we just put financing. Affordable to the resident.
Okay, obtain or consider P3, consider general bond, income generating, sell underused property and help funded, etc. Why don't we just take everything he said here? And put it in.
I think he did a good job.
Is that what you thought?
Uh,
You put,
Well,
You added 7. Yeah, so
I threw things in because these were different ideas that were bounced around. Are any of them in conflict with one another?
I don't think so.
well,
That would be my concern.
These are options.
Consider P3 funding versus consider general bond financing, I don't know.
No, I mean, I
They're
think you
just
got it
different
right here.
approaches.
These are things.
This is good.
But all those things are there to help. To pay,
Pay for it.
pay
Yes,
for it,
yes.
Mhm.
so we can keep affordable taxes, right?
Yes,
Yes,
So,
and that
Cost-
one,
cost effective means this is not gonna, you shouldn't,
not gonna
Should-
break up,
you shouldn't spend more than you need to spend on it. It should be cost effective. No, that's the wrong way to go. I see you grimacing over there.
I mean, what are you supposed to spend on this? You know, like there's so much relativity to this. It's like, what should this cost, right? I mean, what can we afford? What is cost effective?
The architect is gonna be highly responsible for what it's gonna cost us.
Not really. The client tells the architect what they want.
Yes, and then the architect, he can do a fancy what you want, or he can pluck one up.
Yeah, well, if Elon Musk hires an architect, he tells him, cost is no object. I want a memorial to myself that's gonna last 1,000,000 years. I don't care what it costs.
Staff, what are we looking at? Like it's 200 million,
Laura's here.
Laura's here. Let's talk to Laura.
Assistant city manager.
So what's the question? Yeah, the city manager.
Well, we use the term cost effective, Laura. What we feel in our hearts we mean is, this should not be the Taj Mahal. It should be, we don't want to spend a whole hell of a lot of money. We want it to be welcoming and recognizable and flexible, but we just don't want it to be a monument to folly. We can't use those terms, I'm sure.
So are you asking for what terms you might use?
Yeah.
Is economical
When you
or,
use the term,
you know?
when you use the term cost effective, what does it mean in your lexicon?
Pretty broad, right? So usually we're looking at, what's economical in terms of certain criteria, what's the best deal, but I don't know that I have an answer for you. I thought you were gonna ask me for like number stuff, like how much you're being.
You know that number.
Yeah, but business association thought it should be 300 million, right?
Yeah, right, well,
So-
the TGA, there's over
So
300.
in the 200 million, were you assuming that could buy
They got a
land
lot.
or reuse
Yeah.
existing land?
So the $200 million number was sort of extrapolated from the city, I guess several years ago, was going through an effort with the county to do a joint complex. And that was gonna be the city's portion of that building. So we just used it as a placeholder for a similar number going forward. So the city's contribution to the larger joint complex would be 200 million. That was in our models. We just left that as the same.
But it never had an underlying quote or anything.
It was based upon, I think, order of magnitude estimates that they did for the joint government complex that we were gonna do in partnership with the county.
So under our guidance, I was thinking we would recommend that we reuse currently city-owned property.
Yeah, I think that would be an assumption, that it'd be more if you had to buy
That's not
land.
necessarily cost effective.
What?
Gotcha.
Reusing the city, but no, there are people who say sell the city property for what you can get for it. And you can get another building for less, which will suit your needs. That's not necessarily cost effective.
Well,
It's easy,
but,
that's the
but
easiest
if
thing
we,
to do.
if we started from scratch, what you mean, if you sell what you got, you gotta buy something else suitable.
That's true.
And I think you'd be better off using what you got, if it's large enough.
Well, we don't, we are not in a position at this point. Let's go for the cost efficient way. And if it turns out after study and site selection and looking around and weighing the options, the cost effective way is to go with the building, that's the way they go.
Yeah.
But what you
Go ahead.
can sell the site
Me,
and offset the cost at the new site that also owns by the city. You could build that building with the money that you got from the center.
Which is what you
yeah,
have.
two different things here, how you pay for it,
Yeah.
what's cost effective.
Right.
Commercial property is dollars per square foot, it's not 200 million.
Right.
There's people
I
in
mean,
our
it-
community, God bless them,
The
tell you
sun's,
say 200 million, you they'll blanch you.
yeah, I bet you they would.
Anything over, but if you say, look, for commercial property shouldn't be Pier 66, it shouldn't be $2,600 a square foot,
Correct. Right. Mhm.
right?
Chair, if I may just add one more item. So when we did the city hall engagement efforts, what I believe cost effective to the community meant was that there was gonna be a revenue generated from other folks who are on the site, and that we would explore grants and the cheapest financing option. So those are the three things that kind of.
That's what we got here. That's what we have.
But I'm sure you're gonna go after grants. On the
Absolutely.
federal and state level. And but the cost for other entities using our new city hall, I don't think you'll get a whole lot of takers. I really don't. Cause we already said we're gonna do free to the homeowner association, and we're gonna be very cheap with anybody else who wants to use. I mean, you already done did away with giving up space that for less than what it costs to own it. I mean, that's government work that way.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
That's true.
We
We
never make money.
absolutely.
We never
don't
make
make-
money. All right.
What couple of the ideas I just, then I'll leave you back to chatting, were getting the Chamber of Commerce or another government-ish or like governmental-ish organization to partner with us so they could sell their building and buy into ours, sort of thing. Those were the public discussions. I don't know how you all feel
Those are
about that,
public
but that was,
Yeah.
that was how,
Right.
they had a lot of ideas how we could lower the cost, so they didn't have to pay a lot.
How about we put something, potential cost sharing with other entities? Yeah. Can we add that in here?
But didn't we talk about that? Yeah, they asked a few other entities and nobody was interested.
Nobody has done an effective,
Because they
in-depth
They were
discussion
looking
of
at
any of
P
these
threes
things.
when they was
Yeah.
talking about that. When they said sharing, everybody mind went to P threes, including mine.
Well, one of the ways.
Do it as a
is
P3.
Reverse what's happening now.
Mhm.
Cities rent space in other people's buildings. So if they need 12 stories, build 16 and rent 4.
Yeah.
That's a
Or by-
revenue producing building.
Or by the school board building, did you read the editorial in the Sunset?
Yeah.
Okay, The school board doesn't need their building on Andrews Avenue, really. They can go out into the middle of Broward County someplace. So, wow,
You need the feng shui freeze.
yeah, right, exactly. All right, do you want to add potential partnership with other entities to generate revenue?
I do, I like that.
Is to generate revenue.
For potential cost sharing for.
Well, he sort of has that for income generating for space rent.
Income generating, so
What?
that's vendors, that's like the coffee shop,
Okay,
okay? All right, we got that one. That's pretty good. All right, cost effectiveness. Now we got functional, efficient, and resilient. Functional, efficient, and resilient. Functional.
so under resilient, is this what we put in?
Withstand
In
hurricanes.
what terms?
The hurricanes,
Hurricane
lead,
and flooding event?
Yeah,
Yes. And without structure.
resilient.
Structural. Well,
Structurally designed to handle
Civil
category 5.
engineers, that's gotta get civil engineers, right?
yeah, that's it. Category 5, the hurricane.
Hurricane, lead certified, energy efficient is in lead certified.
Under energy, I think it needs to be energy, okay, and we've never really talked about this, but it needs to be energy independent from a perspective of, we have a major outage, like we lose all power, it needs to have backup generators like these.
That's a good point. When there's an emergency now, where's the emergency?
It needs to have an
Should
emergency.
this be the command
It
center?
needs to
No,
be
we
here.
talked about that, they did not want to put the command
They
center.
don't want the
They don't want the
command
command
center
center, because it's more centrally located, there's too many people
They
involved.
want it, and there's
And
one
we go
out
there.
it's out here, is
We go there, yeah, but we go there, we go there, okay. But you bring up a good point
Right,
about,
sure. That's resilient.
how could we say
Of
that?
course.
Resilience, it's gotta be,
That's surprising.
and it, I know that when you talk about the backup for the computers, the computers are gonna be someplace else.
There.
They need a separate place for the computers,
And
so
that's
that
in
if
this
this,
building?
well, they're gonna have something here, but in the event that this building goes out, there's gotta be a backup.
Oh, yeah, but that's, okay, that's what my industry, so yeah, but that's not even in Florida.
Yes, the servers, not in Florida.
Yeah, so you'll have your main
Chicago,
server farm. I would put my main server farm, anything but the base here,
Oh,
right?
right.
Yeah, and then you have your backup server farm in Iowa, right? And so that's how you,
Not with the tornadoes though, anymore.
or underground in Iowa,
Underground in Iowa.
right? So,
Okay,
but, yeah,
all right, so far under resilient, I've got functional, efficient, and resilient. So for the resilient, all I've got is the LED, lead, and structurally capable of handling a hurricane
hurricane and rain event.
and flood.
What about some kind of environmental,
James,
environmentally?
1D for James. Friendly, efficient.
Friendly?
That's where the smart building is.
Are we saying that smart building implies that it's energy efficient?
Yes.
Environmentally,
The lights go out when everybody's.
I
Right,
mean, they have some buildings nowadays that are being built that they collect the rainwater and that becomes the water that used to
Yes,
wash
flush the toilets.
flush the toilets and to water the plants.
Eco-friendly.
Yeah.
So that's, you wanna use the term smart building on resilient? Yes, yes.
I liked it, we didn't discuss it, but I like it.
Smart building, it's
The lights go out when people walk out of the room, automatically. Lights don't come on, air conditioning goes down. You don't have to monitor it. It senses when there's people in the room and it turns the air conditioning on. It's motion sensitive or heat sensitive. Nobody has to fool with it. The building like breathes, lives and breathes.
Yeah.
Scary.
I mean, you put it in.
Fresh air comes in, yeah. Mhm. All right, let's put that on the resilient. Okay, so that's there, functional and efficient, but that's a category, functional, efficient, and resilient. So what's the functional and efficient, or they just sort of meshed together?
Well, functional, we mentioned that we wanted to design meeting spaces so we can have movable partition.
Flexibility, yeah.
Well, I think functional from James is a key departments, leadership and staff to located in one building. To improve efficiency, I guess, between.
Where, James, number two, building is fun, key department leadership staff, no, we can't say
We
that,
can say that, okay.
city staff work areas are physically separated from the public spaces, I think we can say that,
You can say that.
yeah, this is okay,
It need to be.
And I think they said they want.
they
that.
wanted that.
Yeah.
Flexible
That's the
workspace that can expand and contract, that, we love that one, that's a good one. Meeting space for city officials and staff. Well, they gotta have meeting
They
spaces
have
for
to
the
have
city
meeting
staff,
space.
so we don't have to say that. Meeting space for officials and residents, that's different, so we should say that,
Correct, that's two different.
okay, that's two
Because-
different things, that's an okay.
And they have.
And the meeting space for the communities. All right, so that's functional, and flexible should be that, the expandable should be that you have to consider growth in the future,
Growth or contraction.
or shrinkage,
Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen.
expandable,
Less people.
for future growth.
Yeah, we never talked about birth rates in the United States.
Talk about
Let's not talk about
Birth
that.
rates in the United States.
That's
That's
not
on the news all.
Okay, functional is not, I think we got them all.
Yeah.
Yes, we got them all. Let me recap.
Summarize.
I'm summarizing. As I summarize, I write. Okay. So it's welcome and engaging. Accessible and secure. Amenities for staff and public. Showcase for history, art, and education. Cost effective. And functional, efficient, and resilient. Functional, efficient, and resilient. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We good? Okay, and the body will be executive summary. Do we do an introduction before the executive summary? I've seen it done that way.
Oh.
No, straight off to executive. Then we'll
Punch
do
it
the
right in
intro,
the face.
intro background.
Blah, blah.
Yeah.
Who we are, why we're here, they know who we are.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a background section. which was-
I like a background section. I think it's not.
Instead of executive summary.
No, not in the executive. Executive summary, you asked us to do this, this is what we did, this is it. Then we go the intro, you know, when did you ask us to do it, what form, we did a public outreach, yada, 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 and then we go into the body of the report, which is the bullets. Okay,
So,
Okay,
so
we got
then there's no
it.
background. I didn't hear you say.
Well,
Big background.
she said introduction, I said background, but you could put them together.
yeah, I've seen it done both ways,
You could do introduction. and background.
introduction and background. I personally like it separate, but we do it together.
They're it's kind of the
They're
same.
similar.
In my mind is saying intro, how do we get there, why are we here? that sort of thing.
I'll just do intro and then I'll include.
How did you say it, Greg?
I said April 2023, Fort Lauderdale experienced a rare 1,000-year flood, left existing city hall. Since 1969, significantly damaged city departments, okay, and then that's all, that was just that one line, you can incorporate that into.
I'll put that line into it,
Sentence is good.
yeah, and I'll
But
put,
not at,
I like-
not at the beginning.
no.
No, this is after the executive.
No.
summary.
Mhm.
Just gonna have executive summary and then introduction. And then.
Took so long, that took us a long time. 3:30, that took us a long time. Okay, you're gonna trust me to put this all together and send it back out?
Can we, how soon can we get it?
Oh,
Says the guy who wants
That's just it.
how much wine is in it for me?
I need a bottle of wine and stop on the way.
What kind of wine?
Chardonnay preferred. Okay, I will put this together as soon as it's humanly possible and send
Yeah,
it back
sure.
out to,
Yeah,
When is the next, we have to get
Do one.
together for a final review,
do
right?
one.
We have a question.
Yes, oh, we have a question.
Right, real quick.
We're not to the public yet, but we have public, so impressed. Hang on. Okay, I'll put it together as soon as I can. I send it back to the liaison. She sends it to you. Now, we only have one more meeting. Okay,
June 10th.
and you can't communicate with me.
June 10th.
June 1.
June 3rd.
June 3rd, okay. And I'm thinking, and I need some guidance on this. Should we try to send something to the commission in their background for the meeting? Because if we don't do anything until the July 1 meeting, and we come back and we fool with it some more, it's gotta be rewritten that night for the next day. That's not gonna work.
No, but.
So why don't we put draft on it? Why don't we just put draft on?
So are we planning to put tonight, motion meeting for the June 4th?
We have to.
So Mary.
That's the schedule.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Courtesy.
Come in.
So, we were kind of in the back end talking about it too. So sign off for the agenda that you all are on is the Wednesday before the publication.
Which is what?
Which means, so it's the 29th.
29th.
So the
I can
29th is
do
when
that.
all of the items are like finalized and published. So that'll be before your next meeting. Yvette, suggested that maybe, that presentation we've been doing to the DDA, the Civic Association, maybe we add to that, some guiding principles that you've come up with.
No.
No,
Thank you, no.
okay, so.
This is an independent piece of work.
Okay,
Yes.
so we could publish like a presentation if you wanna do a if you'd like to have the presentation or.
That's a city manager. You and the city manager determine whether you want to give another full presentation to the commission of the workshops. That may be appropriate.
Okay,
That's not what we were asked to do.
okay,
We were asked to do this based on that.
right,
And if they want to see that,
okay,
then that's wonderful. You're telling me that if we were gonna get a draft document, which would have to be draft, to the commission, it has to be by the 29th to get in the packet.
if you'd like it included with the published agenda,
Okay. Yeah,
probably the 28th, because sign off's on the 29th.
I think we need to make that decision now. Because I have to hustle to get that done. And even hustling to get it done, it still you will not have an opportunity to comment on it. So you have to trust me to a certain extent. We can change it on June 1st and then walk in with, we sent you the draft to get the, the da-da-da, and then we worked on it a little more and here's the final. But it's gonna be essentially the same, guys. Let's face it, it's gonna be essentially the same, but it'll be a more polished, signed document than the draft document.
And I think I've been at city commission where there's been draft stuff presented
Yeah.
before. I don't think it's always like, this is the final stuff.
Right, so they're not voting on anything,
Nothing's
it's
gonna
just
get voted
anything
on.
you'd like them to review in
Right.
advance of the
Yeah.
meeting.
So it's just a draft. As long as we make it very clear, I think we're good.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, then that's what we'll do.
So
I
a
will
draft-
get it to you, a draft before the 29th,
Courtesy.
and I will get it back out to you all before the 29th. All right, so yeah, Sharon.
What time is
Yeah.
the Tuesday meeting?
It's typically at 11:30, I believe, is the joint meeting start. I'll double check, but yeah. The joint meetings are before the conference meeting and there's lunch will be provided.
Oh, so like lunch.
Right.
It will be at 11 a.m. I just.
11 a.m. Okay,
Yeah.
that's it, 11 a.m.
11 a.m. So maybe you will do a presentation and then we'll do a thing. We'll work it out.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, that was old business, new business. Anybody have any new business? Yes, sir.
He brought up the database that they're working on. It's so important to me that we get that data collected quickly. So you can use that to design the water and sewer lines for the future. Could we have regular readouts? of How that data gathering process is, maybe once.
Are you talking about the water consent order? Or what are you talking about?
You were talking about, so right now, you had the project manager here last meeting.
Right.
And he was talking about mapping all the existing lines.
Consultant report, the consultant who's working on the water mapping.
Yeah, that's Suleiman, the guy that was here.
Yeah.
Right, and then that information's feeding into a data, you said there's a new database that you.
It's yeah, it's called CityWorks, and it's a software that takes all that data, but until all that is not completed, it will go into the city works.
I
It has to
understand.
be all done and then it's inputted on city works.
To me, that project is so important, it needs to be a regular readout to this team, because that's gonna be key to all the proactive decisions that we make about what's gonna be the most important thing that has to be fixed.
Okay, so you want a summary once a month of
We're
where,
not, that's too often, once a quarter.
once a quarter of where the water consent order is with the mapping?
Yeah, like where are we with the mapping? How's the city? Well, so the mapping's feeding into city works. I'm more interested into what's going on to city work, into the city works database, and how complete that is, and when are we expected to be able to start using that in our daily design decisions?
Okay, so you want a city works update once a quarter?
Exactly.
Okay.
Do you guys
Let's
really-
get the city work, we'll be finished with this in June, okay? They may ask us, who knows what they're gonna. We haven't had an update on the city works program for,
So do we wanna say July? Do we wanna say have it in July?
I would say July,
I'd like-
Sooner
like
rather
go
than
deeper
later.
Dive into it.
Okay.
It's just,
because you're absolutely right. That is the key for the future, getting that system up and running and functioning. Yeah.
Are we meeting in July?
Oh, wait a minute. Good point.
Are we meeting in July?
Let's talk about that under new business.
Yeah.
Under new business, where we are at the moment. Do you guys want to take a break in July? Because the commission goes away in July.
They do, but they go away late July.
Yeah, but they don't need us in July.
Well, either we take July or August, not what we want.
Well, they're back in August.
I don't care. I just.
Does anybody want to make a motion about taking a break in July? I'm open.
I move that we take a break in July.
Okay, second, all in favor? We are officially on vacation in July. Thank you so much. All right, so in August, we'll have our first in a year and a half update on the city, the city work.
The asset management city works.
Asset
Thank you,
management
Mark.
city works. Excellent.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question on the, I don't know that it's for business, but I've been seeing Keith Engineering all over the city, drilling little holes in the streets, probing. Can you give me an idea of what they're doing? Keith Engineering. And there's scribbles all over 17th Street. You have any idea what that's about?
That's probably
They,
The work to
I hope
run the
so.
bypass all the way down to.
yeah, that's a piping project, I believe, from GTL. Yeah, it's on 17th Street, right?
No, GTL to the well fields is not there. It's not what I'm talking about. It's on 17th Street.
Right, but GTL is on 17th Street.
Yeah, but GTL, the pipe that's going from GTL to the injection pumps, that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That's on Eisenhower Boulevard. This is on 17th Street and I would say 16th or 15th Avenue. There.
The roadway, going
It might be the county or,
Keep it possible. It's just what I.
let me look into it.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna have that one word, that's under new business. Anybody else want to have anything for under new business before we get on to comments from the public? You good? All right, we're not doing public works update today. We'll do that in August. General discussion and comments. Committee members, this is your opportunity to say something. No vote? All right, let's hear from the general public. Come on up.
I just had one or two quick things, I guess. Norby Valves, I participated in all of the meetings and final wrap up, and I thought it was a really great discussion. I think that you guys alluded to it, but I think it should be a guiding principle about sustainability, environmental piece. I don't know in Lauderdale that I couldn't find that the LEED is a requirement for city buildings, and if it isn't, I think that really should be a guiding principle considering, one, what happened with the building, two, that we're the most impacted in the country by the rising waters and the increased storms. And so I said this at the very first meeting, and I hope it's okay to say it again, because it came up indirectly. But really, we look at net zero opportunities for buildings. I know the city's trying to get to that net zero, but we should really be exploring net negative, because this building was taken down because of climate. And so this would be an opportunity for us to really rethink about how we're doing buildings, not only in Fort Lauderdale, but the county, the state and be the example for the country, because again, we're the most impacted by all this. And so I think it would be a great thing to include that explicitly about sustainability. And you mentioned environmental, you mentioned the lead, but really saying what that means so that the commission understands. Because number one, the next generation can inherit this, and that's really important to them. And so I think that's an important thing to think about. Also too, I just took a quick note about something. You mentioned the welcoming, engaging. I think accessible and secure should be along with that. Because welcoming and engaging is always, the challenge is making it accessible and secure. Because when you have secure, it's typically not very accessible and engaging. So I think by putting those 4 items together, it would allow them to address this in unique ways and think, how can we still make this accessible, welcoming, but also secure? And so I thought those might be a nice thing to put together, because it poses a challenge and an opportunity for them to rethink. So I think we did like that. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I think it was all, I think you had 2 separate.
I like challenges and opportunities.
Because it was like welcoming, engaging, I thought were separate from accessible and secure, putting all 4 of those together, because they kind of contradict each other, and it would be an opportunity for us to really think of how we can do this, do it all in one guiding principle, if we will. But I think the most important piece, what I want to say, was that sustainability piece, the environmental and that net negative, because I think.
We put it in there, like a line on,
Yeah.
able to handle hurricanes and rain events.
Well, I think it, like, sustainability means like net zero is like, there's net zero energy. If you net negative, that means that building actually